Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today we're going to talk about The Walking Dead comic, issue 156. Heavy spoilers, so if you did not read the comic yet, go read it and come back. For those who have read it, and you guys know my mini Negan, I showed you in a couple videos, I think a video yesterday, we made a modification to mini Negan. Check it out. We got Alpha's severed head. Now, in order to get this, is that clear or no? I don't want to show you and it not be clear. There we go. In order to get this, all I did was hot glue, little tack there. You can barely see it. I can't see it. We hot glued Alpha's alternate head from the Skybound exclusive. Hold on. There we go. The Skybound exclusive where it was a walker's head where I have her displayed, and then now Negan has her severed head. Yeah, there we go. Woo hoo 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 hoo. Great issue. Let's recap. Okay, listen. I say great issue. I'm loving it, but I'm torn. So let's recap. We got Beta, who wants Negan dead. Okay? Alpha makes the wrong call, keeps him alive. Negan integrates himself into the Whisperer way, the Whisperer lifestyle, gains Alpha's trust, and then cuts off her head. That's the skinny of it, the short and skinny. Let's dive in deep about what actually happened. So starting off, Beta devoted himself to Alpha in front of us. Now it alluded to him doing it in the past, but why it's important for us to see it in this issue is because he's going to lead the Whisperers to war against the survivors. Because he knows Negan came from Rick's camp. He wanted Negan dead. He's going to wake up and find Alpha's severed body at the outskirts of camp where Negan was, and he's going to want blood. He's going to be pissed. Now, this can be good news and bad news for Rick Grimes and the survivors. Good news because he's pissed, and he might make a mistake. I'm talking about Beta. Bad news, he's fucking coming, and he's pissed. Now, moving on from there, we see Negan's ability to not only manipulate, which we've seen previously, but also to think on his feet. After watching Beta devote himself, get down on his knees, he does the same thing, gets on his knees, and he says, listen, whatever you want me to do, you say it, I will do it, I am yours. And I think this is cool that they have Negan prove himself throughout the issue. They use humor, which is great. When he shoots the pig, he's like, oh, motherfucker, I shot the pig. The next panel, he's like talking to Alpha, like he's getting a lecture. Fine, the Whisperers, I get it. You don't get that name because you scream. So they have humor. They have a lot of different panels showing a couple days passing. However, in my opinion, it feels a little forced. And it feels like they could have really benefited by stretching that out over 2 issues, not just 1. As far as it being a number thing, I don't think they needed the Whisperer War, to start in issue 157, so I feel like that's something they could have accomplished. Stretch it out a little, get us used to Negan at that camp, at least another extra issue. It's not a big deal, but I think that's one con. It felt forced, all crammed into 1 issue. It felt like they needed to edit out some of the story in order to fit it in the issue. Anyway, one of the big reveals we get actually coincides with a video I made just yesterday, and that was the confirmation of whether or not Negan hates rape or is only against it, because you can't work with people, you can't have people working under you if you rape their women or if you're raping them, you know what I mean? And I know Negan did, and you guys did bring this up in the comments section, that Negan, when he was talking to Rick when he returned Carl, he said, it was an empty threat about raping your son. I wouldn't do that. I'm against rape. Now, the reason I didn't say that's confirmation is because Negan says a lot of contradictory shit. First off, in that very testament, in that very reveal, he says, I love violence, but I hate sexual violence. Go to issue 103, just a few issues before that, and he tells Rick that he hates violence, and it's Lucille who loves it, and even makes it a joke saying it's a good thing Lucille's not in charge. So if you look at what Negan says, he does say a lot of contradictory shit. So, because of them contradictions, I wanted to see the proof, and we fucking got it. Negan sees this woman about to be raped, and he goes to stop it. he hates rape, you can tell. So it's official, and I fucking love this because it's not just something he said that we can go, okay, but he said this as well, and this, he says, I love violence, I hate violence. This, we see it. Negan is a spy, and he has a goal here. Negan has an agenda here, his own personal agenda, to get in the good graces with Rick Grimes, but he also is disgusted at the moment, so he goes against the rape, which is awesome that he does that. I mean, it's a good trait for this character. There's traits of him we love, traits of him we hate. Now, another benefit to this issue, or a pro, I should say, is to see the Whisperer way. And I think this is a benefit because it allows us to see what the hell the rationale is to have children and women raped in this camp. And it's the strong ones will fight them off, which I highly disagree with. I so disagree with this shit because if you take, this woman, for example, there's two men, bigger than her trying to rape her. Imagine Lydia, who is a child. She's only 16 years old. You get these men that are bigger than her, and it's not a fair fight. It's not a one-on-one or nothing. It could be two on the one little girl. It could be two or three or four. It's a flawed way. It's a flawed way to live, and Negan throws that shit in her face by pointing out to Alpha, fucking Beta, holds you down. Beta, not in a bad way, Beta holds it down. Beta protects you. Beta is there keeping people from running a train on you, but your daughter doesn't have protection because you didn't even protect your daughter. You fucking scumbag. You know what I'm saying? So I love that interaction because it revealed some of the whispers just in the dialogue between Alpha and Negan. It revealed some backstory, some of their ideology, their philosophy, their way of life. It revealed that in their dialogue, but it also revealed Negan's stance. He will trample babies in order to save his community. He will bash somebody's head in, an Asian American, he once said. He'll bash his head into soup in order to protect his people. Now, I do feel like the TV show actually made this part a little clearer because Rick Grimes and group, his gang on the show, murdered a whole outpost of Negan's people. In the comic, it was only like 3 or 4 people in the middle of the road, and they were essentially robbing Rick and the survivors. So I think that the show already has a one-up on the comic as far as fleshing that out. But Negan's reveal did not get lost on me. I really liked Negan's reveal and what was shown in this episode. I do, however, feel that it might be a little underwhelming. So if fans say I'm underwhelmed that Alpha's dead already, I agree with you. It's kind of like the Ezekiel syndrome where he's so cool looking visually. Ezekiel's awesome looking, but he was kind of like a bitch and a little bit of a disappointment. Alpha is so awesome looking. She's, strong, independent, even though she does cry a lot. But she's putting on this fake front. It's a part of her character. I understand that. I feel like we were missing a little more of Alpha. It's like they could have given us a little bit more. Something. But what's done is done, and this storyline is going to push us into another Whisperer War. I'm doing a prediction video on it, and I also want to have a discussion video on if the Whisperers story arc was wasted, because in my opinion, the Whisperers, and this is probably why I have a bias on it, and I hold it up on a pedestal, because in my opinion, the Whisperers story arc, from the time we heard about talking walkers up until the reveal that these people wear skin suits and live among the walkers, that, in my opinion, is the greatest story arc in the comic for me because of what it did emotionally to me, how it moved me, how it gave me chills, and it was, in my opinion, I said that way too many times, but in my opinion, it was the creepiest element, the creepiest storyline, the creepiest part in this entire issue. I never got the creeps before in the Walking Dead comic. It was always interesting, it was always cool, but it was never scary or creepy, in my opinion, until the Whisperer part, and I think they did that almost to perfection. However, with that being said, since it had such an epic beginning, I feel like it needs an epic end. And with the Whisperer looming, next month coming right around the corner, I feel like they might just get rid of the Whisperers here. And we'll talk about this in a prediction video, but if they do get rid of the Whisperers, is this going to be a predictable thing where Rick and gang need to rely on calling for backup, the people on the radio? Will they show up and be allies, or will they show up under the disguise of allies, help Rick and gang eliminate the Whisperers, and then reveal themselves to be the true next big villain. Is that the setup here? Is that what this is leading into? I don't know. And another thing with Negan, I just made a video a month or 2 months ago. I think it was 2 months ago. So it's not just made a video, but I made a video 2 months ago where I talked about how Negan can't kill Alpha because of the story and how it's pieced together. I did say at the end of the video, I said, Negan is only, there at the Whisperer camp for one of two reasons. He's either there to hurt Rick Grimes or he's there to help Rick Grimes. And we find out now, officially, he's there to help Rick Grimes. My opinion still stands, though. I feel like this might just be slightly underwhelming as far as Alpha's story is concerned from beginning to end because of how short-lived and unfulfilled it seems at this moment. It was such an awesome death. I love the way it played out. I love the false sense of security there where Negan lures her and us into in that dialogue. I love it, but I'm torn. Let me just say that. Anyway, those are my thoughts and opinions. I fucking love this issue. Love it, love it, love it. Still a little torn. I'm going to wait a few days, go back to the entire Whisperer story arc, reread it, and we're going to do a video discussion because I want to look back now and see if it was too soon. Did they need a little bit more with Alpha in order to have a bigger impact? Or is the story truly focused on Negan now and Beta? And Kirkman did hint that this Beta character would be a very vital and important character for the story. So Alpha could actually have been the front. She was the misdirect where we're focused on Alpha, but in reality, Beta is the newest next big threat. And it might even come down to a one-on-one with Beta and Negan. How awesome would that be if they're at war, Rick gets separated from the group, and he is, no match for Beta, and Beta is going to fuck him up, but Negan saves his life. I think that would be crazy as shit because it wouldn't be easy for Negan. He would have this epic fist fight showdown, throwing each other through walls and shit, Not that crazy, but you know what I'm saying. And it adds conflict because right now, and I'm really excited for this, Maggie is going to find out any minute now, any issue now, that Negan is free, and I can't wait to see the conflict there. If Negan shows up at Alexandria, throws Alpha's head down, walks in the doors, they're going to put a gun on him, obviously. Walks in the doors, and Negan and Rick have a somewhat civilized conversation about where to go from here on out. I can't see Rick not throwing him back in jail, so Negan's definitely got to have a plan B with this. He might even reclaim or retake over the Saviors. What if he goes there next? What if Negan goes to the Saviors next, gets his people back, shows him that he can lead them. He has seen what he did wrong. And it will be different if he rules again. If they reinstate him as leader, it will be completely different. They're going to change certain things, make it better, and maybe they'll have votes. I don't want to go into details, but if he wins the Saviors over and shows up at Alexandria, Rick doesn't have a fucking choice. He has all those guys now. Out of nowhere, Negan shows up, throws Alpha's head down, and he says, listen, Rick, I don't want to go to war. We can unite against these 6 fucks to take them out. Do you have a deal? Rick might just end up shaking his hand, and then Negan can make a joke out of shaking the claw hand. Anyway, put your thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.